probably a good place as any to start, just a sense of the squad, fitness-wise. I'll throw a couple of names at you. Any update since Tuesday night? Farsi and Sorensen?
Yeah, unfortunately, both of them, it looks like they will be out for a while. I think we're talking a handful of weeks here for both of them. Foot injury with the Lungi and Achilles with Farsi. So yeah, not around the squad at the moment.
Just to clarify, any sort of surgeries required there?
I don't think so. But I don't think it's something we can rule out completely. But I don't think so for now. I think we try to avoid it. But also, of course, like we had the situation with Barnsley earlier in this season, where we also try to avoid. You never know. But that's the first step we take here.
You won't be surprised to hear that. I was probably going to ask you a few questions about the market anyway later on. But now you've announced that those two possibly for a portion of time, two midfielders as well. Does that then force you maybe to rethink a little bit the strategy in the window between now and then?
I don't think you ever should be too affected of injuries in terms of how you act on the market. I think the market is more like a strategic decision where you should plan when you have a squad that you should expect that 2 or 3 players will be out consistently throughout the season. That's how it is also with the amount of games that we play. So I think it's more important for us that how we started to look at the squads, the answers we got in pre-season, and that we still keep that strategy in mind in terms of the players that we bring in. But it's fair to say that we look at, of course, more positions in the squad at the moment and see where we can strengthen the team.
Back to the fitness defensively, Cordoba and Krizeni, where are they for this week?
Both in training. So plan is that they will be around the team for Saturday, and we see how many minutes there will be in them.
And obviously, without wanting to push you on, you start 11, but probably with Cordoba particularly, given we know he's not had a huge amount of minutes, that would be quite a tall order to start him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's maybe fair to say. I think also with him, like we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, it's also a guy we have to accept that we need to build him up, and we need to do it with the respect of him not having any setbacks, so he can perform for us the whole season. That's more important. I know sometimes when you're in it, you only think about the game on Saturday, but we also have to think about the longer perspective here for especially him. But I think it will be good for him and for everyone to give him some minutes on Saturday.
You mentioned him there, actually. Just get an update on Ashley Barnes. Where is he? Is he back in the training cycle?
Not in the training yet. I think from what I heard, it's going well, and actually also maybe a little bit better than what we expected. I think still the plan will be the same. So we spoke about having him ready for game minutes after the first national break.
Okay. Obviously we're here to discuss Blackburn, but in the period since Stevenage and Adam Idah, that's gone through now, the confirmation he's a Celtic player.
Yeah.
Just give us your overall thoughts on that. We know it feels like it's dragged on a lot all summer, and there was episodes you had to deal with. The Austrian one stands out. But overall, what's your assessment looking back at that situation?
That was something that happened, and that's how it is. It was not ideal for anyone. But I think what Adam showed afterwards was a good mentality and a good team spirit. I think it was not perfect what he did against Oxford, but he came in with an attitude to show that I'm here to perform for the team while I'm here. So I think actually, to be fair to him, he stepped up his game after that situation in Austria and really tried to make his way into the team. And of course, end of the day, we made a transfer I think everyone can be proud of. It's a player who's been here for a lot of years and also contributing well to the team. Like I said, when we started the season, he was a striker which I had in my plans for the team, because I think he is a good striker. Of course, he wanted to go to Celtic, which is fair. We wanted a specific price for him, and we cannot let anyone walk out the door here for free. So it was, of course, this game going on. I think everyone is satisfied with how it went, and I would just say I wish Adam all the best of luck in Scotland.
I mean, as you say, but outside the camp, I know it's an undisclosed fee, I understand that, but the figures that have been mentioned around the deal, it does seem a very good deal that Norwich have struck, and it underlines maybe that you stuck to your guns, that you wasn't led by other things that could have come into play. And remained focused on what the valuation you had on the player.
Yeah, and we will never be, and that's important. That's important. The way that we work and the way that we develop the culture. That you cannot just decide when you're on a contract here as a player, and it doesn't matter if you're a coach or a player or who you are. If you're on a contract, you have to fulfill that contract, and you can only get out of that contract if there's an offer that anyone or everyone can accept. That's the name of the game. That's how it is, and you cannot force your way out. You cannot do anything where that will happen. So, end of the day, I think he had a good reaction to the situation in Austria. I think he came back with good energy. He was focused on the team. He was also, him and I spoke about the Oxford game, whether he was focused for that one, and he really wanted to play. So there was really nothing there, and I think the response from him after that situation in Austria was very well. So a good deal for everyone. I know they are happy in Celtic. I know he's happy, and I think also the people around here are happy.
Yeah, final one, we'll move off him. But as you said, start of summer, I remember you were at a fans forum, you said, I like the player, I like his attributes, I think he could work well in my system. Where do you think his ceiling is now? Celtic are a massive club, we know that. He's going to be playing in Europe as well. Where do you think he can go in his career? And obviously there's a lot of imponderables in that, but in terms of you look at that player as a striker.
I know he's been in the Premier League before, of course, and also scored goals. But I see him as a potential Premier League striker with his attributes, his physique, his power, definitely. So it was not just something I said in the beginning of this preseason that I really wanted him to stay, because I think he is a good striker, and I know they like him as in Celtic as well. So I wish him all the best, and I hope that he can perform well in Celtic, and I hope that he can from there on take the next step in his career, because I definitely think he has the skills to do it. So I wish him all the best. That's how it is. I would have wanted him to stay, but I think end of the day it fell out in a good way.
Clearly that's a striker out of the building. Where are you in terms of income? As you said on Tuesday night, you were a long way down the track in terms of doing the preparatory work on that. Can you give us any update?
Yeah, we are. I don't think we still have decided 100% yet where we go, because we have some options, and what we have to look at is, of course, what's going out of the building. Do we need an exact same type of player, or how should we shape the team? And there's some different options for us, and there's some different ways to go for us. So we have a lot of meetings, and we have a lot of scouting, and we watch a lot of players at the moment, and we are definitely in the market, and I'm not a guy of making too many promises, but I'm very close to making a promise that I think we will bring in some offensive players before the window closes, but I cannot promise you when.
So not before Saturday, as far as that, man.
I think that will be, what do we have, 48 hours? No, I think it's not realistic.
Okay. Strikers you do have in the building, Josh Sargent, I think the MLS transfer window closed yesterday,
Yeah.
I might say.
Yeah.
Safe to say there was a little bit of interest maybe earlier in the summer around him from the MLS?
It's maybe fair to say.
But obviously that door's closed now. So moving it forward, would you hope that you can keep him in the building? We know how important a player he was last season. Again, I mean, probably you can repeat what you said about Idah, that he's a player you'd like to work with, but what's your sense with him in the next 3 weeks?
My sense is, and I just worked with him on the pitch a couple of hours ago today, and he's 100% focused, and he's a personality where he's ambitious, and he's professional, and his behavior is fantastic for the group, because he really wants everyone to perform on highest level, and he's really a guy who raises the bar for what we can do. So I think where he is as a football player, he will always perform, and I think his mindset is that he cannot affect what will happen. The only thing he can do is to perform, and then end of the day you see how it goes. Of course, we like we do with more or less every player in the team, we always have to plan for the day that they're not here anymore. So of course we do that. I hope that he will stay here. I hope that he will be a part or play a big part for us in the season here. But you never know. But what I can say is that he's 100% committed and focused.
Got to ask you, Jon Rowe's status check, is it where we were Tuesday night? He won't be involved this weekend, still with the 21s?
Yeah.
I mean, they do, I think I'm right saying they do have a game here Friday night. Would that extend to him being involved Friday night here?
It depends a little bit. Of course, when we play these games, it's always important for us to look at minutes, look at players, look at potential future players for the first team. How many minutes will they get? It's it's more like a puzzle when it's academy games, and I think it's fair to say we have to plan, and we should make sure that we do and take the right decisions. It's not just for a first team player to go into U21 and play, no, because then you take minutes from other guys that are on their way. So we have to plan that and see.
I mean, I don't ask you again because you stated where you're coming from on the game after Tuesday night about behaviours, and you need to see something to show you that he wants to be part of the group and the culture. You reiterated that, but I didn't ask you on Tuesday night, just maybe off the back of the chats you had with him Sunday, on a personal level, hats off, do you get the sense this has been for him? Because we all know, and we can all agree, acted probably unprofessionally there, but you have to remember there's a 21-year-old lad there who hasn't gone through this before, as you said with Adam Idah earlier in the summer. Just on a personal level, how's he been?
I think it's been tough for him. I think that's fair to say, and I think we knew that, of course, when we took that decision. There's a big fan base, and we really have to respect that. It's a fantastic fan base around this club. But of course, also when something like this happens, then fans will be affected by it. And I think also, to be fair to Johnny, he also was. So we support him, and we support him the best possible way. And I spoke with him this morning, and I think the plan for him is that he, at some point, want to talk to the team again, especially his teammates, because that's end of the day what it's all about. No matter where you play as a football player, you need to have the support from your teammates. Otherwise, you have no chance, no matter who you are. So I think he will be with us in one of the meetings soon, and then we can sit down and see what the next step for us will be. Yeah,
and as you referenced the fans. I mean that is difficult for him because he's known nothing but love. He was the Derby Day hero last season. And that to tilt as dramatically as it feels it has done, that must be tough for him to take away. It
can change in a second, and as a player and also as a coach, you have to be aware that it only takes one sentence, and then you can change so many years of history. So you really have to be aware, and that's really why you need to support yourself with people that you can trust. Whether it's family or friends or whatever it is, you need someone that's there to support you and also makes you reflect about your decisions and stuff like this, because it is important as a football player. It is important that you think about your behavior and what you do, because if you lose the support, then at the end of the day, it's a difficult business to be on your own. And so, yeah.
Moving on, two other young players who've gone through contracts for them this week. Brad Hill's going full side. Just talk about them individually and collectively. You clearly like them. You've spoken. You've used them a lot in pre-season and into the season now. There's two young players who are on a good path. Yeah.
And again, I think we should celebrate when we have academy players leaving the building for a fee that we can all of us see is a good fee, and they're ready to take the next step. That should be a good day for us, because it gives us the possibilities to invest in the group again and to invest in more future players, so we can in the future see more and more and more of our young players. And some of these players I talk about here is Brad Hills and Gabe. And I was very delighted that we could reach an agreement with both of them, because they are the future of this team. And I hope that everyone can see at the moment that they can contribute, but also just see the potential these two kids or lads have in them. So good day, good news for everyone around the club.
I mean, you might tell me differently, but just in terms of when you came in, maybe the Ken Abbo contractual thing, that was a long way down, and I don't know how much input you'd have had, but did you have a lot of input in this decision with these two players?
Yeah.
And clearly, your recommendation is, having worked with them, you can see that these are players with the potential to be first teamers for Norwich.
Yeah.
Did you want to ask the questions and I'll do that?
But when the answer is so simple, then there's no need for too much more than that. It's simple as that. It's good players we work with here, and I hope that everyone can see that they are maybe not 100% ready for the team, but they are about to be ready, and they need the support, they need the respect, so they can develop and they can get the minutes they need. And hopefully in the future, whether that's in 6 months or 12 months or whatever, they need to be potential starters for the club here.
Just a footnote, obviously, on the Stevenage game. Coming out of that, I don't know how much you would debrief it, how forensically you go into it, but was it, as you felt on the night, the good elements and the bad elements?
Yeah, it was. I'm not satisfied with our defensive stuff, because I think I don't think we were solid enough. I don't think we were strong enough. I think we allowed too many crosses in situations where we should deal better with it. I think we could have avoided these crossing situations. We could have avoided too many of these corner kicks. And that's something you have to be better at going into games where you know it's an opposition where it's a big part of their game. We will face that in the championship as well. So we spent a fair amount of time this morning looking at situations from that game, and then offensively we used some of the stuff that we did Tuesday night also for the game on Saturday, because I think offensively there were some good moments. We spoke about the goals, of course, the four very good goals, and I think that was a step in the right direction. Of course, a lot of details to improve and develop still for us, also in that part of the game, but I think we took a step in the right direction, and I think we're going to use some of it.
And as a head coach, I mean, that's interesting. When you come off a game where there was so many good elements in terms of the offensive play and the goals, but those negatives as well. Maybe because you're relatively new into working with this group of players. Do you feel yourself you need to accentuate the positive elements, or do you know go the other way and actually we need to focus on what we didn't do well enough on that?
What is most important for me is that I make it very clear for the players that it's all about performance. Because in football, we can play the best possible game on Saturday and still lose. That's how it is. But what we can affect is the performance. So that's where we always look. So it's not like only because we win we will be satisfied and everyone will be celebrating. Of course, we will celebrate if we win, but we will quite fast dig into small details that can be better if the performance was not good enough. Because that's what it's all about. So what is important for me is that every time we evaluate, every time we have meetings in the morning where we go through details and stuff like this, it's about the performance, it's about what we can affect. And they also see a coach coming in every morning, not being too affected by the results in the weekend, but being affected of the performance and how we can improve and be better.
And the next one is obviously Blackburn, Carrow Road. Firstly, what do you make of Blackburn? This season started scoring a lot of goals. What's your sort of analysis of them? Yeah, I watched the game. To be fair, I watched some of the games from last season as well. I think there was a slight change in the way that they approached the game Friday night against Derby. I think they did well, especially in the first half. They played with good tempo in the game. They looked calm on the ball, created good chances. The first goal they score is a very good goal. So they definitely have some strengths where we need to be on our front foot. We need to be good in our pressing game to avoid too many situations where they can create chances from their possession game. So I think, to be fair to them, they started well. We also saw in that game that you can put them under pressure, and there's parts of the game where we can see that we can hurt them. But I don't think we should talk too much about that now. Absolutely, yeah. And got your first Carrow Road game out of the way in the competitive game, but this is the first league game. Is those nerves and excitement still going to be there, do you feel? First championship home game? I'm
always excited, especially when we play at home. I think, like I've said so many times now, it's a fantastic stadium. I like the atmosphere. I like the intensity there can be in that stadium. Scoring 4 goals Tuesday night was also just to hear the celebration. I think it's a fantastic stadium. So what we have to make sure is that with the training today, with the training tomorrow, we prepare the guys the best possible way so they can go out there Saturday afternoon, perform on a high level, and also show that intensity that the crowd loves and supports. So that's important.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard it since you've come in the building. You know that Carrow Road factor. If you can get 25,000,
exactly,
because of the environment, the nature of the stands,
exactly,
closeness to the pitch,
exactly, and that's about attitude. And we spoke about it with Forson before the game Tuesday night. And just go in with your attitude. Play like the way that you play. You go there to win the ball back when you lose it. You play forward when you have the option to go forward, and that's the mindset we want, and that's also what the crowd loves to see. So go in there, play with that attitude. That's important, because end of the day we need all the support that we can get, and it is a fantastic stadium when everyone is behind us.
Good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Just one from me, Johannes. Obviously, you are looking for a striker, as you've mentioned there. If you could just define what sort of the perfect striker looks like in your system, what would you say that was?
Yeah, and that's actually also what we discuss at the moment, because it is, should we go for a striker that is you can never say 1-to-1, but a striker that is a little bit like Adam. Should we go for another type of striker because we have Josh in the building and he's the physical, strong number 9? Could it be another one? Could it be a striker that maybe also could cover other positions where Josh and Adam was, classic number 9s, where it was not really natural for them to be on the left or the right side. So there's actually more options to this. So I think it's the most important thing for us is that we find the best possible fit for the group. So in terms of the players we got in the building, how we want to go forward. A player who should be technical strong and needs to have this intensity in his game where he can press and he can run. But there's many options, and that's also why I said it's not going to be decided before Saturday, because we have to take the best possible decision. And I know when the window is open and everyone can be a little bit impatient and say, okay, let's get him in. But end of the day, when we are in October or November, no one will remember this 1 week or 2 weeks, but everyone will remember if it's a good or bad choice. So that's the most important for us.
Is that almost the biggest part of recruitment, finding that balance between someone who fits the system and giving you different options?
Yeah, I think it is. It's important they fit the system and the way that we want to play. We cannot bring in players where they're not used to being calm on the ball, comfortable on the ball. We cannot bring in players that don't have the intensity to play the game that we want to play. So, but to be fair, we have a very strong recruitment department that can find good players. You could see with the guy Forsum we just brought in. So some of these types where they also have the hunger to come to this club, perform for this club, because this is the best possible step for them in this career. I think that's also important for us. So there's a lot of things going on where it's personality stuff, technical stuff, tactical stuff, where they are in their career, and so many things going on. So yeah, it's not easy, and it's not something you just do overnight.